It's honey harvest day. It's July 4th. Happy Independence Day. It's going to be a hot one, about 90 degrees. I've wanted to harvest before now. The weather just has not cooperated very well. And I'm afraid if I don't do it soon, I'm going to hit a nectar dearth. And then I'm going to deal with robbers and all sorts of problems too. So I've got this new bee veil. It's new. It's this different kind of headgear. And it doesn't have a sun visor like my old one. So I put my visor on, but it's kind of unstable. I may end up changing. I may end up going back to my old jacket. It's got a few holes in it, but I'm a lot more comfortable in that because I'm familiar with it. But we'll see how it goes. I'm already sweating up a storm and I'm in the shade and it's not even 11 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to try to buzz through this. I don't have any idea how things are going to go. The bees have been a little testy. They get dinged by robbers in the morning, I believe. And so that's why I've waited until about 11 to check things out. And so I'm expecting probably close to 300 pounds of honey. We'll see how things go. But anyway, let's do it. It's really nice light honey in this box. Camera keeps overheating, so I can only film so much. But this is all I'm doing is just pulling frames out of the one box. I left them 2 full frames of honey in here with a little bit of brood on there, drone brood. And then I just lightly brush the bees. Doesn't hurt them. I don't have a blower. And then I keep the boxes covered up over here so that I don't get a lot of bees in. Don't want to kill the bees. Nice, heavy. It looks like really light spring honey. And this whole box looks like it's full of light, really good honey. So this is one of the first boxes where I'm using 9 frames. I'm hoping that will make it easier to extract because each frame is going to be thick. I can cut it all with a knife. Oh yeah. Put another empty on. This is just gorgeous, gorgeous light colored wax and honey. All right, I was able to get 18 full frames off of these and leave them 2 full ones, plus plenty of drawn comb they can continue to fill. Unfortunately, I didn't get the light blue hive harvest on film. My camera had overheated, and by the time I moved on, things took a turn. I pulled nearly 2 full supers, but halfway through, it went crazy. Robbing broke out fast and furious. I worked as quickly and calmly as I could, brushing bees, sealing boxes, and closing everything up. And right in the middle of it all, a tiny swarm floated into the apple tree, likely from that hive. It was just chaos, it was hard to tell. I quickly closed all the upper entrances and reduced the front entrance on every hive to help contain the situation, but the robbing went on for hours. I truly thought I'd lost the light blue hive. Later, to my surprise, they seemed to recover. There were still guard bees at the entrance and activity looked normal. So I decided to let everything settle for the day and let the bees regroup while I started the first round of uncapping and spinning indoors. The next day, I moved inside to start the first cycle of uncapping and spinning. This year, I started using 9 frames in each 10-frame super, which really paid off. The bees drew the comb out past the edges of the frames, making it much easier to uncap with just the knife. Less need for the uncapping fork. Uncapping is one of the most surprisingly meditative parts of the harvest. It's slow, rhythmic, and deeply satisfying to lift the wax cappings and see the golden honey glistening beneath. Each frame went straight into the powered extractor, and let me tell you, I am so grateful not to be hand cranking anymore. As the extractor spins, centrifugal force flings the honey out of the comb where it splatters against the sidewalls and glides down the bottom thanks to gravity. From there, I open the honey gate and let the honey drain through a 400 micron filter. Now that's fine enough to catch wax bits, but it still allows pollen granules, typically 10 to 100 microns in size, to pass through, preserving some of that good stuff. After spinning, the emptied frames go right back into the supers, and later I will return these to the hives. I want to make sure that there won't be a robbing situation, so the timing will have to be just right. Now the bee yard finally seemed calm, so the next morning I set out early to finish the last 2 hives. Now normally when I harvest, I like to do it when most of the bees are out foraging, but I chose to harvest at sunrise to try to stay ahead of potential robbing before the foragers were fully active and before the heat ramped up. But this isn't the ideal time since all the bees were in the hive. Now the yellow hive, much like the orange hive, was a dream. No drama, no surprises, just calm bees in full frames. But the light green hive was another story. This hive has always been naturally defensive. Even when I mow and trim near them, they rush out and protest. So I was prepared for some pushback, and they did not disappoint. With every frame I pulled, they got more and more frenzied, and smoke barely fazed them. By the time I got to the 3rd honey super, it felt chaotic. The bees were everywhere, and I couldn't tell if robbers were getting involved or if it was just this hive's temperament. So I closed everything up and switched tactics, shaking the frames in front of the hive and let the bees crawl back in. All right, I had to stop filming for a minute. It just got a little hectic. And so what I had to do is just sort of shake them out in front of the hive. I don't care to do that, but I always give them, this is a cedar shake, I always give them something to help them crawl back up into the hive. I suspect it's just the time of day. This hive is always a little defensive. They're going to be a little testy for the next hour or so, but I think they're all okay. A few casualties, unfortunately, I don't like. Meanwhile, there were a lot of bees that got in here because everything got so chaotic. So what I'll do is leave this here for just a little bit. Every once in a while, I just open the lid and let some escape. Try not to let any more in. Let everything calm down. I'll do the same thing. And then I'll go take this in the shed. I don't want too many bees. Now, bottling is also meditative and quite satisfying. I used 1-pound plastic squeeze bottles, 1-pound glass jars, and 3-pound quarts. That gives my customers a wide range of choices. The color of honey is reflective of the nectar source, so it just depends on what flowers the bees visit. Spring honey tends to be quite light, while fall honey tends to be dark, but you can have all the shades in between. I tried to keep the frames and buckets separated by color. The color often also reflects flavor. Some batches were light and floral, others deeper with hints of caramel or wild herbs. There were 5 subtle differences in shades this year, and no 2 buckets are exactly the same. It's enough to share, enough to savor, and enough to remember why I do this.